Hello, everybody. Roses like it's a get a hell, huh? Everybody. Roses like. So, guys, okay. I meant to do a video soon, like actually yesterday, but I've been doing so many different things. I was thinking of maybe doing a live stream today, but I think it's too much, honestly. So I'm doing something I haven't in, I feel like a long time, which is a recorded video as opposed to a live stream. Because there's so much, there's so much going on in the world right now. And I know it's a very, oh, sorry. I have those timers all the time. Oh, so today is the 19th of November, and we're almost 2 p.m. local time, New York time, and then we got the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, which I think it was expected, right? And then I wanted to talk about also what's going on with Paul Gosar was reprimanded, censured, it's called, right? And he lost his committee assignments. And then also there was a raid on the house of a former campaign manager of Lauren Boebert's. I don't know, guys, I almost like, I don't know that I need a lot of detail even just to explain what I've been thinking, about this. This is supposed to be like the night, it's like is a full moon, I think it is, right? Is a time of like, they're like, oh, we care, all this like, and all these like explosive events could happen. And this is the astrology people were saying. And I got the sense, guys, and I've been saying this for a long time, and I don't want to scare you or anything, but I do think that we are living through the end of this time of like an era in some way. And I feel like I think they're going to be, what is the word? They're doing everything they can to hold on to power, although it's almost like energetically, it takes more and more energy from there, and it's ending. I know it doesn't feel like it right now. And I know in some ways, I feel like when I do the live stream, sometimes people come in like, oh my God, but this is happening. And I'm not, because of all this stuff that's going on in my life right now, I can't be like, I'm not here in a way to make you feel good, right? I'm not like, I can't do that, or at least right now. What I can do is to say that if you have the responsibility to not, like, because guys, no matter how many, I say this thousands of times. And even the other day, I looked at some comments on YouTube where someone said, oh, Michael Flynn said this and that. And it's like, the one thing that I wanted to say is that do not beware of outrage, because when you give energy to the things that the far right is doing and all their very organized efforts to destabilize the country, you are in some ways helping their messaging grow. Because I don't know if you know this term, it's called SEO. It's for marketing, essentially. It's basically about the ranking of words and searches online. So when you type something, basically the Google search engine machines will count that towards whatever words it is that, so for example, if you repeat the whole thing that Michael Flynn said, the machine will rank it higher, because it's not judging whether you're pro or against it. It's counting how many times this talking point is spreading. So that's why when I say like, don't focus on those things. You really want to think about, this is a time, guys, to like think about what you really, and do something about what you really care about, and also to hold thoughts of the things that we want, and they're going to happen. They're happening, they're going to happen, because the more energy and attention you give to all the negative things that are happening, the more you strengthen it, even though I feel like those people are more and more weakened. Even though, right, it seems like it may seem contradictory, because what we see is that they have so much power, or that all of the stuff that we see is so obvious on our face. But what is happening, I think, is that this is going to be one of the rare times in history where, like, all of the dirt, all of the darkness of American history, and in some ways world history, because it's not just happening here, it's going to come to the surface. And what used to be that those things were kind of known, and oh, they were like not talked about so openly, but now everything is out in the open. And when it all comes out in the open, in some ways, it loses strength. So if anything, we can, we can deny that the whole thing is a Rittenhouse thing. It's like there's been so much effort to kind of put him up as this hero of the far right. So because what they're essentially doing is that they're using him to kind of agitate other young males like him to kind of like take up arms and like create some kind of fake, like fake civil war, whatever it is that they want to do, the armed thing, whatever that is. Okay. So that's what's happening. And at the same time, I don't know if you've noticed this, guys, there was a video. Did you see the censure of Paul Gosar? And his video that he was very sick. There was a video online, and after this, he was like walking. Some people said, oh, he has some kind of Parkinson's, or like he looked like he was drinking, or there was something really off about him. And you have to remember that, like, I think they're really feeling what's coming and what's already happening. Meaning, for example, what's happened to the campaign manager of Lauren Boebert. And as you know, I think Rachel Maddow did a segment the other night about it, and she described how, in reality, the main person who was raided by the FBI was this woman who was an election official in Colorado, right? And how she had given away the password online for the election, the election county or something like that. And that is the crime they're investigating. And she's very close to Michael Lindell, right? The Trump My Pillow guy. And also she said on her statement that, oh, a lot of older women are being raided. And of course it was the campaign manager of Lauren Boebert. But I feel, guys, it's very close. It's getting very close, and there is consequences. Okay. But so they're getting more desperate. And I how to say this, like, I know it sounds like, like I said, I don't want to scare you, but I believe it's possible they could try to do something, another massively violent act. And I feel like for the next 6 months, what is happening is that it's like, guys, bacteria, right? When you're taking antibiotics, that's why they say you should continue, when you start taking antibiotics, that you take them and you don't stop taking them, because once you start attacking them, if you don't, if it's not continuous, then they will grow and they will fight back. So what it feels like is that it's the very end of the tail, as we're getting ready to not just expose, I feel like consequences are truly coming. They are fighting back harder, and they are giving their all, because they have to remember, guys, they don't really have an ideology in the sense of, like, they don't stand for something, they stand against certain things. So that's the anatomy of hate, right? So anyway, so I feel like the next 6 months could be very volatile. There could be violent actions and those kinds of things, but you can't be intimidated. Like I said, don't be intimidated by this, and just think of, like, all the good that's going to come after this, and how you really spend time imagining how you want the world to be and how things are happening. And nothing is magic. Okay. It takes time, and it takes effort. It takes organizing. And it takes you standing with the values that you care about, and never repeating what such and such said, not, not amplifying their talking points. Okay. And I just feel like we're going through such a shift, and this is like the bacteria reacting, but eventually they're going to, it's over, because they're just completely, there's this Rolling Stones song, baby, 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 you're out of time. Baby, 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 you're out of time. Like, that's what it feels like. So it's they're trying to, like, create all this false gods and these false realities, and I think the rug is slowly pulling from under them. Okay, so again, it's not like it's not to say that, of course, it's very unpleasant what we're observing. It's not nice. Of course, we wish you were different, but that's America. That's really the underbelly of the beast. And it's now we're seeing it closer than ever. So, so that's the story. Okay. And guys, I have to say, I'm sorry, I'm like, this is like, I don't say it's a stream of consciousness, just sharing the impressions I've had. Okay. Another thing I wanted to say is that, and again, not to make, I don't want to scare you or anything like that, okay? But I got the sense that this guy, Paul Gosar, he could try to do something. Like, I think there could be some kind of effort inside of Congress from one of those people as the investigation gets closer to them. And I was watching something on MSNBC, I forgot what it was like in the background, and they said something like they want to have these things live, these testimonies live. I think it's in the spring or something. And I think as let's say the news gets close, like they're like as they realize they're like are surrounded, things will get worse. Okay. And I think it just, again, it's because their goal is to really take down the America that we know. And don't, guys, make no mistake about it. I think it's important at this time, at the same time, that we are like, I'm always kind of positive, right? In the sense that this is the thing you must never lose. It's like the sense of change, the sense of hope that things are happening, things are changing. It's slow. But the other thing is that America has been like this. It's not new. It's not like, oh my God, I can't believe it. No, it's, of course we can believe it, because this is how it is, how it has been for a long time. And they think there's so much money invested in this person being acquitted. And also, guys, I have to say, I don't see a good future for him. I kind of almost feel bad for him, which I don't really, but it's like they're using him to try to motivate other younger men to become like kind of like him, sort of like the ISIS kind of technique. Okay. But again, don't be afraid. Don't feed into this. Like there's laws. There's like, even though, like, if these people try to take up arms or whatever, there's a federal government. Okay, they're not a military. Okay, so you have to remember that. Now that's that. So I feel like as far as your lives, like our personal lives are concerned, what is this time is interesting for is like letting go of the things that you need to, like, okay, it's not even, it's complicated to explain, but at least that's, I think, what is going on with me. I feel like some of the hard things that you don't want to deal with, probably in my case, probably somewhat financial and like projects that are like on the wayside or something. You have to go back to the basics, and you have to deal with what matters. And also, like, whatever in your life is kind of under the rug, the things that are painful, the things that you need to address, this is the time that you're going to have to address it. It is painful. It is difficult, but once you address it, your life changes for so much better, because the dark stuff is the thing that always weighs you down. It's not the positive, like, you could be as positive as you can be, but if you don't address the dark stuff, you don't move forward very quickly. It's very slow. So that's the work that we have to do, all both, I think, collectively and personally, examine what's under the rug. Okay, the stuff that is tough for all of us. Okay, so I feel like I'm rambling, but I'm not. Am I? No. So guys, so that's what I think. I feel like, you see, like, I think Biden has accomplished a lot of things, and like, of course, the media is always like attacking him because he's not Jesus Christ. No. But I feel like the amount of money invested in this, in the project of taking down democracy, is huge. Okay. Another thing I forgot, I don't want to forget to talk about, is this book, guys. And this is like, I can't believe this is like to tell you how important it, like, history is important, right? And how even I didn't know this. So there was in the 30s, I have to get this book, guys. Let's see if I can find it here on the share with you. Okay, so only like a month ago, I found it. So crazy, right? This is like how tells you how far back this thing goes. This whole like far right thing goes. So in the 30s, there was something called the Wall Street Putsch, or like the coup. There was an attempted coup also by the industrialists, trying to take down FDR and they tried to prevent the New Deal from happening. And what they did is they found this military person, and they tried to get him to take over the government. And then he he said no, and he renounced it. He said, "Oh, look what they're doing." I don't think it was ever very publicized, but it was a real thing. And I feel, guys, I have to read the book because this gave the rise to so much of what we're seeing today. I feel like in some ways you can trace this back to the hatred of FDR and how he created a lot of social programs. Okay, so it's like history, it's all, guys, history is like a bacteria, it has all the bacteria, right? And if you don't eliminate the bacteria, it comes back even 80 years, 90, 100 years later. Okay, so that's, I think, what we're seeing is this effort by all these people, including even, the dad of Charles Koch, all those people. I'm not saying almost like the Kochs, but really, they really hate that America, right? That there is like a part of America that is really very progressive. Okay, so as you know, the whole thing happened when we had a huge crash in 1929 and regulations was started, and there was a lot of, that certain things weren't allowed to happen. And I feel like in some ways, Biden is here, I think, almost like as a, I don't think, okay, I don't know that he will even have the time to finish every single thing that FDR was doing, okay, like that he started, and to protect the things that he did, FDR. But I feel like this is this closing of this battle that started in the 30s. So guys, I'm sorry, I'm gonna see if I can find, where is it? So, okay, so what is it? Okay, so okay, so the difference, guys, is that I don't think they went as far as, like, they didn't succeed like Trump. Okay, so I'm gonna share the screen here, 1 second. Okay, so here it says, it's interesting, they call it the business plot. There were some books I have, because I haven't read the books, I don't know that it, you don't even necessarily need to read the actual books, it's here. So it's, for some reason, it's called business plot. Also called the Wall Street Putsch, the White House Putsch, was a political conspiracy in 1933 in the United States to overthrow the government of President Franklin Roosevelt and install a dictator. Retired Marine Corps General Smedley Butler asserted that wealthy businessmen were plotting to create a fascist veterans organization with Butler as its leader and use it in a coup d'etat to overthrow Roosevelt. In 1934, Butler testified under oath before the United States House of Representatives on un-American activities on these revelations. Although no one was prosecuted, the Congressional Committee final report said, there is no question that these attempts were discussed, were planned, and might have been placed in execution when and if the financial backers deemed it expedient. Okay, so guys, so it's interesting, guys. Okay, so that, oh my God, look at history repeating itself here. Early in the committee gathering of a testimony, most major news media dismissed the plot, with the New York Times editorial falsely characterizing it as a gigantic hoax. Interesting. So, okay, so I'm just going to read this, guys. Okay, Roosevelt's reaction was upsetting for many conservative businessmen of the time, as his campaign promised that the government would provide jobs for all the unemployed, had the perverse effect of creating a new wave of unemployment by businessmen frightened by fears of socialism and reckless government spending. Some writers have said concerns over the gold standard were also involved. Jules Archer, in the plot to seize the White House, wrote that with the end of the gold standard, conservative financiers were horrified. They viewed a currency not solidly backed by gold as inflationary, undermining both private and business fortunes and leading to national bankruptcy. Roosevelt was damned as a socialist or communist, out to destroy private enterprise by sapping the gold backing of wealth in order to subsidize the poor. So this is, like, guys, to me, this is like super interesting. Okay. So anyway, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just so you can look it up, okay, and find for yourself, just to see that this is like an ongoing, almost 100 years they've been trying to do this, right? And it's interesting. I know, you probably know my position on this. This discourse of the gold standard and the whole thing is repeated nowadays in cryptocurrency. They say the similar things. Oh, be careful, the gold standard is a terrible. So, and it's because a lot of the discourse around Bitcoin has a lot to do with Austrian economics, right? Which is this whole like very conservative thing. So it's kind of interesting to me that like this, we're living in this era of all all these kind of these ideologies resurfacing that were, this is not, it didn't just start today. It did not start with Trump. It started 90 years ago. Okay, so this is like very interesting, guys. So that's that. I wanted to say this just to remind you that this is like an ongoing thing and it's not new. Okay, and I feel like that's something to think about. Okay, that just to think about how like when we have this like all the donors dictating the politics, that's where we end up, Okay, now guys, I wanted to also, it's funny, I thought about it yesterday. I was like, oh, maybe I should do like a Roosevelt thing, but let me see if I have a message from him. I don't know, because it's usually, this is the kind of thing it's good to do with all of us when all of us are together. But let me see. And then if I'm going to go back to the live streams, but let me see. So what's going on here? Roosevelt, tell me what's going on. What do you see, Roosevelt? What do you see, FDR? How can we, are these people ever going to be stopped? Like the bad people that try to, get a coup against you going? Are we? So guys, this is kind of interesting. So the image I saw was like this image of like people throwing money away, like this sense of like throwing money away. And what I understood from this was that those people that then were very, very wealthy had too much money, so much money, they were throwing it away. And that what instead of, he saw that happening, of course, right? There was in a way that the depression happened because some of these people had way too much money, enough that you could throw it away, that it meant nothing to them. It was just a pure abstraction. And he realized how much that could help people, right? And that those people were using the population, paying very small wages and really just using them like oranges. And in Brazil you suck oranges and you throw out I forgot what you call it, eating, just using people and throwing them out. And he saw the power and the abilities of American people, and he wanted to invest in the population. That was the whole idea. And it worked. And he said, look at how it worked. Everything, we had such a good infrastructure in place for the generation that came afterwards and going forward. And that, unfortunately, a lot of those people did not learn the lesson because they came in. Sometimes some of these people that were born, post-war, they're still alive today, born post-war, during the war, even the Second World War, they took it for granted, right? That I had given them those tools, and then they got free education. Everything was like low cost. And then they decided to think, oh, that's not good. That's not good. Oh, how come people get, so it's saying that he thought of money as a form of resource, and that taxes is a form of like not making sure that the world, like some people, it's like making the world, it's a form of fairness, right? Like everybody should pay their share. You don't, because in some ways they were using the country to the resources of the country, including the population, the labor, and the intellectual resources and organizational resources to accomplish their goals. So therefore they should, it's not how it is, right? You should pay their due. And that's the thing that they really resented, okay, is that now they felt like my money, which it was useless for them really, was quote unquote being used to empower others. And that's like not what they wanted. And that's how this conspiracy has been at least saying. And I see this image of like these secret organizations, secret groups, kind of like keeping the ideology alive. And guys, back in those days, they were even aligned with like Hitler, like, you know what I mean? Like fascist ideology that we are seeing today, similarly. So then I see here that like, that the only advice, guys, and when people are on the other side, usually they don't speak the same, like this. It's kind of like this sense that the American people needs to understand how valuable they are and stop saying the words that those people created. Oh, they said this, of course, but what do you say? Your voice matters just as much as whatever. So beware of the value your voice has and how powerful you really are and how resourceful you are. And that's why they try to silence you. That's why they want dictatorships, because they don't want people to have, you know what I mean? So it's like, so how are we ever going to break this cycle? And I see this image of centrifugation, like really, it's like things are really changing for the better on the other side as well. And that there's less and less power to this, but it's saying that if you want to improve the situation other than sort of a form of activism, it's like you have to assert the power of your voice and never say, oh, well, they're doing this. No, it's like we're powerful everyday thing. It's kind of like you have to use your voice and you have to use your voice and understand how much power you have. Okay. And that the more we say the population's getting more and more rights, everything is going, it's like you can't let the narrative that they are planting also, right? Take hold. You have to remember that you have power, and that just because you observe things with your senses, it doesn't mean that they are quote unquote, you know what I mean? Reality, like in the sense that the biggest reality is the reality you feel inside and you see for yourself when you close your eyes, right? And that you have to almost like, it's a form of prayer. Like you close your eyes, like, what is the world I want to be in? And it doesn't mean like idealism. It's okay. It's a form of like balancing idealism, but also reality. So like when you visualize it for the world, okay, what do you see? It's not like you see the world that everybody's hugging every day. No, it's more like there are good schools. Everybody has access to basic rights. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you want to visualize it like that. And not so much like perfection, but working. Like, how does it work on a day-to-day basis? And you have to believe it, because if you don't, the moment you feel defeated, the moment you let the visions of the other people infect your mental space, you kind of start to feel down. And the best thing you can have is like this excitement comes from the heart. The excitement of the future and the present comes from the heart, and it comes from almost like it's about faith ultimately. Okay, that ultimately we're all here to make the work of heaven transform earth, right? In some ways, like bring more and more this reality to the world. And the other thing it's saying is that something about, this idea, guys, it's interesting. This is maybe a little controversial, the whole thing of like this communities of like, wellness and like intuitive communities or whatever, right? There's this whole concept of like, some people are really more, oh, I'm like a good person. And those, it doesn't matter. It's not about you. It's kind of like how you practice your everyday, right? It's like, do you practice the vision, like internally in silence? Do you practice this as opposed to like, oh, look at me, I'm a light word, whatever it is, like just do it in your own way. And in some ways, it's like, it has a lot to do with making it a personal practice, right? Like not so much, of course you want to connect with others, but at the same time, you have to like have this mental discipline to kind of apply it on your day-to-day. You know what I mean? It's complicated, but it's almost like, it's similar to the things like when you want something in life, you kind of like, you visualize it in your mind, and you don't let no's, and you don't let like whatever people are saying, whatever it is, like go for it. Okay. And that's it. Like, that's kind of like, That's this era. And so let's see, how are we going to, but I see, guys, also the power of these thoughts to kind of to be diminishing. Okay, the culturally, we're just kind of, I don't know, it's quite, I feel like disintegrating. Okay, so that's why there's more, the greater and greater need to like make this. So it's instead of like saying, some people say, oh, but look at these supporters, look at this, like, no, you can't. It's like, look at, does it feel right to you? Does it ring true? Do you feel like this is whatever that you believe in is going to create the good for yourself and others? Then you stick to it. Like it's saying, the biggest danger is to get involved in the energetic exchange with the darker ideas and the darker people. Just say, I'm so glad they're, they're appearing so that they can be gone faster. But now we're moving towards this world where there's greater equity, there's greater opportunities for everybody, there's greater light. Okay, so again, the mental discipline that we all have to apply to go to kind of survive this time. Okay, it's interesting, guys, right? Like that the whole, we thought that like the whole, of course, it's so much better to not have Trump. Look at how much Biden has accomplished. But at the same time, one person or one situation is not going to change what has been rooted in this country for hundreds of years. So it's just is this constant work. Okay, and it's like everywhere it's saying, but everywhere you look, you're told like, oh no, you can't, this is like this can't be done, that can't be done. And it's like, this is not, think of MLK and how much he accomplished, but everywhere, literally every corner he turned, it was like, oh no. Somebody posted on Twitter a cover of Time magazine back in the day, said, our Negro demands realistic, right? This is like, it's not, guys, things haven't changed in a lot of ways. Okay, because of course, if you're going to ask the mainstream, oh, do you think that, oh, are we going to do, like, it's kind of like almost like their effort is always to curb change, is always to maintain to the status quo, um to, you know what I mean, to keep the status quo as the most powerful people would want it to exist. So but what this era is telling us is that we are also the powerful people, and that going back to this vision that I had of like the Roosevelt seeing the money, people throwing money away, that he thought that money is just a resource and that people were just wasting resources, those people, and that he wanted to see, to at least give resources to more people. Okay, so that's that. That's it for now. Okay, guys, I don't know. I hope it was not rambling, but is that's the feeling. Okay, so this is it. And again, guys, it's interesting. I chose not to. Now it's funny. I forgot to tell you the whole thing about my move, right? So I don't know. I was a little. That's why I think I wasn't like, I didn't want to do the live stream, because I was a little hesitant to like to share, because I don't, guys, as you know, I'm still kind of sensitive because there's so much change going on. So I'm moving away from New York. I'm moving out of New York. I'm moving to Rhode Island, moving to Providence, Rhode Island. My brother lives there. And I feel, guys, the truth is, like, I really can't afford to live in New York right now. Okay. I tried. I tried. I had all these ideas and everything, and things just weren't working out. And then my brother had always like invited me to go live there with, not live there, stay with him or whatever, like just come. He was like, and I haven't seen him in years, to be honest. So he lives in a huge apartment over there. So I think it'll be good for me, guys. I'm going to put my stuff in storage here, and I'm going to go stay there. And so it's interesting. So I think I told you last video I did that I had gathered many advisors to like look into this situation. And so everybody kind of in different ways said that it would be really good for me, that it's like good for me to like get away from the buzz of the city, even though I live in a very quiet place and I don't really participate in very much. It's good for me to kind of like to be in a place where I could be more focused and where I could be more I don't know, just reassess things. And I think for me, honestly, even at first I thought, that's why I gathered people. So I was like, oh, I'm going to come back once I save them some money, figure out my professional situation, right? That then I can come back here. But the reality is, like, I don't have to be here. My parents are here, so it's one of the reasons, but I feel like I can come, it's 5 hours away. It's not that far. Okay. It's 5 hours away. So I can come here. I'm probably going to come here like once a month or something. And then I think it will be good for me, guys, to to like, to get back on my, and again, when it's sometimes, I don't know if you have this feeling when when I travel, you always have like, you don't have much, you don't carry much, you kind of have like such a clear head. I feel like I have a lot of stuff, and I live in a studio apartment. It's a very big studio apartment for what it is, but I think it'll be good to not have anything around, just to have the basics. And then I was looking at apartments there. It's like, wow, it's like guys, for what I would pay for like to have a roommate in a really far away neighborhood here right now, I could get a 2-bedroom apartment in Providence, Rhode Island. So it's kind of crazy, guys. I was like, wow. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Okay. And then here, guys, in New York, again, I honestly, I wasn't approved for the rentals I wanted or whatever, but I think it's also that, honestly, guys, I just too much pressure. I need to get my life together. Honestly, like, again, figure out my professional situation, make more money, and also like clear, you know what I mean, my head and everything. And then I could do other things or come back or whatever. But I feel like I need this like quote unquote safe space. No, really. Okay. And like New York it's funny because I've been in this situation before, many years ago, before I moved back to Brazil for a few years. I was like, it's like this like constant struggle just to survive, and like, and sometimes when you're in that position, it's like you're like all the, and it's like, it's not like, it's like every time, I don't explain it. It's just like, it doesn't give you the opportunity to really explore. I don't know, guys, it's complicated. It's complicated. So it's just like, I don't want to make decisions based on survival alone, but that's constantly what's on my mind all the time right now, and for several months it's been like this. So I just have to like get it together, so anyway, so that's why because I know if I said that live, people like, I'll get nervous to read the responses and like maybe get triggered. I don't know. It's because there's so much change. I think it's good to not have, to have this a bit of a barrier, you know what I mean? Like, so that I can process it, the change, and not have to like, not have to respond to, you know what I mean? Like, not have to like, I don't know. Because I told you before, one time, like last time, I was like crying, and someone started sending me like, oh, like listings, real estate listings in New York, like asking, oh, is it expensive for you? Or it's like, I was like, and it triggered me, and I felt so sad. So it's not that you're going to do anything, but you know what I mean? I just need to like process it in my own way, and it's a weird, like, I know it's hard for me, guys. I've always been like this, like to it's not that I'm not excited. It's like, it's nice to go to a new place. I really do need like some fresh air, fresh perspective. And then I can come back, again, like I said, I can come back, but it's also that, who knows, I feel like in a weird way, I'm very resistant to change in a different way. Like, am I really? Yeah, I think I am. Right. And I feel like, why not just spend at least a couple months there? And if I like it, I could stay there, which is like a much cheaper. Right. And so then it's I lived in an academic cities before, like they have like, so for me, it's not completely like, it's not like, oh my God, what it would be like, it's probably, I have an idea of what it would probably be like, but how do you say it, like, but that's that. It's weird, guys. I'm a little nervous like about all the stuff I still have to like book. I got a storage very close to me here, so it's perfect because it's within walking distance of my house and my parents' house. So when I come to the city to see them, I can, get stuff from storage. I don't even have, because I was like, oh my God, do I have to like get some storage really far away? It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So it's good. It really isn't, really inexpensive. So that's the story. Okay. And I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back soon. I know, guys, there's a lot to talk about, in terms of what's going on, but I just wanted to give you this kind of bigger overview. Okay. And I just see this disintegration of all these structures. Like, as much as they try to fight us, they're going to do violent things. They're going to try to provoke, because they feel like they haven't accomplished what they set out to do on January 6th. And as they are being exposed, you know what I mean? Like the whole plot, the whole plan is like, but I just feel like it's coming down. It's coming down. And of course, they don't want us to, to find out. Like, we know this, right? It's like, but there's a lot of power, a lot of people in power. It's like, okay, let me backtrack. Of course, this is very blatant and on our face, but there's so many more people involved in this than we know right now. And so They don't want to face the consequences, and that's what's happening. So, okay, all right. So that's it, guys. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't ramble for too long. It's just because I had all these like insights to share. And if it, guys, and the other thing is like if anything, if you feel any like resistance to like public events, or if you feel bad, like if you feel any intuitive insight, like if something feels wrong to you, don't go. Don't because this is a time, guys, again, of a lot of volatility. And I was talking to somebody that I talked to a lot. I've talked to a lot for several years, and she was selling her house. She was also moving, and she had this premonition kind of about not traveling during the holidays. And she said, "Oh, I don't want to travel to the new state they're moving to." And it never happens to me, guys. I'm, as you know, a very positive person, but I was like, you know what? Don't go to the place you want to, because she was going to get this Airbnb in like a beach town or something. And I saw this like huge storm that would like almost like, I don't know, like her car, it's the family's car could like sink in the mud. Or it was just like some really kind of scary in like, guys, here in New York, even when you see these like storms, there's sometimes people driving their cars in the middle of a storm, and then the water, you know what I mean? Like that kind of feeling I had about her. So I said, don't travel, just stay where you are until this. I said, what was it? It was the afternoon of the day of Thanksgiving. Like I said, this was her particular case. So I just feel like if you have any insights like about yourself, I'm not talking about the world even, because again, it's a time of great volatility. If you have any misgivings about going somewhere or doing something or whatever, don't go. It's just, you don't need the worry. You don't need, you know what I mean? It's just like, again, I just have this feeling, guys, a lot could happen. Accidents, airplane, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. It's just, there's so many unknowns. So if you have any, like I said, if you have any resistance to doing something, don't do it. Okay, just, you don't want, like I said, it's a time of volatility. People are crazy sometimes, you know what I mean? Until we have the total light, let's say by next summer. Again, guys, it's going to take years to really prosecute all of it. But okay, until like, I think that what I feel like is could happen is like this huge like explosions, like different events, different things. And then until it all quiets down, it's like, it's telling me, guys, can't stay. Do you remember this like in 60s event that like it was a night, it's like they say that when things got darker, it was 1969 when things turned. And then but I feel like, again, opposite from 1969 when the event happened and then things got really darker going forward. What I think is happening is the dark things happen, and then eventually they're cleared out and they lead to something better. So it's almost like the 60s in reverse. The dark stuff then leads to something lighter and more positive down the line. Not that I know, but later on. Okay, so that's that. I'm rambling. Okay. Okay. So, okay. All right, I got that. 45 minutes monologue. Okay. All right, guys. So have a good one. But I'll be back soon. Okay. Okay, bye.